All right, I'm glad you're still with me. If you're watching this video, I assume that you still don't have your book yet. So I apologize for my boring video as opposed to reading this exciting book. So for exercise 13 on capsular staining, some things to note are, what is a capsule? So a capsule is a structure around the outside of a bacterial cell, and it is made out of something called the glycocalyx. If it is yeah, and it's a polysaccharide, which means it's a chain of sugars when you were talking about what kind of organic chemical is it. And the capsule does a few things. Its first, and this is in no particular order, its first function is to adhere to surfaces. So for example, if the bacteria needs to be able to adhere to, say, the side of human intestines, having a capsule will help it to stick, to stick better. Also, the second function is protection. Protects them from drying out a little bit, protects them from being engulfed by other cells, including the cells of the human immune system. So sometimes people might refer to a capsule as a virulence factor. And the reason that we might say that is a virulence factor is something that would enable the bacteria to more effectively become infectious or pathogenic. And if you can better adhere to surfaces of your host, if you can evade their immune system, those are things that would aid you in becoming a more efficient pathogen, and therefore we would consider those virulence factors. So the basics of how you make a capsule stain are identical to how you would make a negative stain. You are going to use an acidic dye on a air-dried, not heat-fixed, air-dried slab. You don't want to use heat fixation because, again, that capsule is going to shrink and distort, and you probably won't be able to see it. So the results question is going to involve looking at the results that were given to you and drawing them. And the last question, what kind of functions do these capsules serve for different species? So for Streptococcus pneumoniae, for example, the primary function of the capsule is evading the immune system, keeping it from being engulfed by, what type of cells are those? Phagocytes. And Streptococcus mutans, for example, it's found on tooth surfaces, and it can enable it to form plaque. And that's why the dentist is always scraping that off. It's a biofilm of Streptococcus mutans that are firmly adhered to the tooth using their capsules. Another example of bacteria that have capsules are Klebsiella pneumoniae. And Bacillus anthracis. And one of the ones in our results, that you're going to be drawing is Klebsiella pneumoniae. The types of dyes that are used for capsule staining are crystal violet or sometimes copper sulfate. Crystal violet will produce a violet color on the background, and then the halo around the cell will be clear, and then the cell may appear a darker color inside the halo. It'll look like a little shadow inside the halo. I think that covers everything for this exercise. So if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me. Sorry, you're still waiting on your books.